Today I lowered the front of the boat down to somewhat level, trying to get an idea of seating position in it. Okay, we've got the seat pedestals figured out where we want them. They're just temporarily screwed to the old floor. We already trimmed them down from 12 inches down to 9 inches. And they look pretty good here. I'll get off this ladder so you all can see it from the other view. And here they are. See if you can see that. For some reason it was cheaper to buy the 12-inch pedestals that already came with their swivel and everything than it was to buy the 9-inch pedestal and the swivel separately. They didn't sell them together, so we just went this route and figure trim them down to size and a little more work, but save a little bit of money. But for now, that's all that's going in the boat. Is just going to be the 2 seats up in the front. Later on we may figure some kind of bench seat or something towards the rear, but that'll work for right now. Now to get these seats back out of here, we've already got all of our measurements wrote down, and start pulling the side panels and the windshield and all of the deck hardware, the cleats, the step pads, horn, lights, everything off. Okay, I'm getting ready to take the side panels out. We're going to get the 3 bolts across the top and all of the screws that hold the lower flange to the floor all the way down, and then we've got these center screws all the way down that hold it to that little shelf piece behind it, that little brace there, and then of course they'll come right out hopefully, and then we can get this floor pulled out. Okay, I got one side panel loose. I thought I was going to be able to reuse them because the wood is pretty solid, but unfortunately the bottom 6 inches little corner there is nothing but mush, so it looks like I'm going to have to go ahead and cut new pieces. But look at all the crap that collects up behind these things. I may have to make some kind of a little clean out or something, or fill them with foam next time, that little void there. I don't know. So that's one. Let's go ahead and get the other one out. I've got both the side panels out. Most of the screws were pretty easy, but the ones all the way at the back, the last 2 on each side, were not stainless, and they were rusted all up, and those gave me a little bit of trouble. And now I've got to remove, I think I have to remove these panels here before I can pull the floor out. That shouldn't be too bad. And this one over here. Once I get those 2 screws out on each side, I'm going to go ahead and pull this carpet up. So hopefully that'll work out. I just finished removing all the screws and the nuts on the bottom that hold the windshield in place. I'm hoping it'll be easy just to lift up and set down on my trailer without breaking it. So let's see how it goes. We finished removing the windshield last night. It was just a little bit too dark to videotape it, so here's the after. It just doesn't look right without that windshield. It just looks like a plain aluminum boat. I like the way the windshield gives it that little bit of character. And the windshield came off pretty easy. Only one of the bolts was difficult to get out, or should I say one of the nuts for the bolts that are part of the frame. Today we're going to finish removing all this deck hardware, as well as the steering, and hopefully remove the floor before the rain starts. I know there's probably some very heavy, very old foam in there, but after we get that done, or maybe when we're taking breaks, I might take a little bit of aluminum wheel polish that I used to use on the Freightliner, hit this aluminum here, and see if it'll polish up pretty easy. Alright, I've removed everything off the top of the bow. The little anchor rope guides, bow light, that little vent cap, the cleat, horn, and I have started pulling this other stuff off where the bimini top brackets and stuff were. I also removed the stern light already. I went ahead and as soon as I removed the bow light and stern light, I hooked them up and tested them out, and both of them worked perfectly. We're definitely reusing the original bow light, but that stern light, it looks cool and everything, but it's not that bright. I think we're just going to put an LED back here so that way, you know, we can leave it on when we're sitting without the motor running and stuff, and it won't drain the battery so quick. But I'm going to go ahead and get these cleats and everything pulled off, as well as the step pads and stuff. A few rainstorms today held me up, imagine that. But I probably won't get the carpet pulled up today, but at least it's ready for tomorrow. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up removing these last few things from the boat, and then call it a night. So it will resume tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Well, it's Memorial Day, and the boat's not in the water yet. I finished removing all the deck hardware. I didn't get to removing the steering wheel last night, but that's just a minor thing to do this morning. Of course, we got all the wiring out yesterday. That big spider web right there is all the wiring that was in it. But today's goal is to remove the carpet and get all the wood out and foam and everything. So let's get started. Well, the steering wheel's removed. That was very simple. Like I said, it was just a little snap ring that was inside here on the back side. Pull that off and the pulley comes off. Everything just comes right off the shaft, and then this whole steering column thing just slides out of the dash. Then you're just left with this piece on the dash, which is just held together by a big nut and a washer. It just holds all that together. But very simple. I thought that was going to be a whole lot harder than it was. I knew it was going to be this easy. I would have just gone ahead and done it last night. Oh well. Now let's get that floor removed. Alright, next I'm going to remove this little footrest piece up under the bow. It's just 5 flathead screws into the floor on each side on that little flange there. And then I'm going to pull the carpet out, hopefully in one piece. Alright, the footrest is removed. Now let's pull that carpet. That glue on the front's definitely adhered a whole lot better than the glue on the exposed areas. It's pulling right out for the most part. Go ahead and get it the rest of the way out. Hopefully it'll keep getting easier, but the dust that's coming off of it is just horrible. Okay, the carpet is up. I just rolled it in on itself so all the trash would stay on it. The front 2 sections of the floor are still very solid. I'm still going to replace them, but I'm surprised that they're solid. The rear section, unfortunately, though, is mush. It will be completely unusable as a template, because it just pulling the carpet out, it pulled up a whole bunch of it. And you can see there's the original foam under there. So Let's go ahead and get this carpet balled up and throw it in a garbage bag, and then we'll get this floor pulled out of here. Well, these rivets are actually pretty easy to drill out, and the boards are coming right up, no problem. As you can see, it's full of that crappy styrofoam stuff all the way up to the very front. We got to get all that out of there. We're still going to put some kind of foam, but it's probably going to be that two-part pour-in type. A whole lot better and doesn't hold water. This stuff up here in the front seems dry though. Third piece is out. Had no problems with it either. And there they are laid out on the ground over there. Those three pieces are pretty solid. The piece in the very back, like I said, it's mush, but more of this foam. That's a lot of foam. Alright, the last piece of the floor is out. It came out in handfuls. For the most part, the foam, at least the top levels of the foam, is dry. The rear section, top, seems dry. I mean, a little moist to the touch from the floor being against it, but hopefully none of them will be waterlogged and we can just pull them out of here and toss them in the trash. I'll show you what that last piece came out like. So here's all those over there, and that pile right there is the rear section, and it just came out in giant wet mushy clumps, and then as soon as I dropped them over the side they broke up into smaller wet mushy clumps. So let's get this foam out. All the foam is out, and that was a lot of it. I mean, look at that pile. And yeah, the bottom few layers were definitely waterlogged, but I'm glad it's out. And of course now there's going to be a storm coming, so if I don't get this all bagged up quickly, it's going to be all over the neighbors' yards. But I definitely got some cleaning to do on the inside of the hull. That's alright though, we're making progress. Well, there we are, 3 bags of foam and 1 bag of carpet. I got to get one more bag and throw all that wood in it, or I may just try and put that in my big garbage can and just carry the whole garbage can and dump it. So now I'm going to go ahead and, before the storm comes, I'm going to start hosing out some of the inside of the boat. At least get the stuff all back in the back so I can just scoop it up and throw it in a bucket. It's looking a whole lot better. I finished cleaning up my tools just in time because guess what? It is raining again. That's okay though, because my next step was going to be to wash out the inside of the boat anyway. Maybe the weather's actually going to work for me this time instead of against me. Maybe. Looks a lot better now that it's clean. The rain helped me out a little bit with washing out all the sludge in the bottom as well as pieces of that old foam. But what it didn't get, I hosed out and scooped out. The boat is definitely a lot lighter now. I can't even walk anywhere near the edge of it because it'll try to tip over off the trailer. I just about need to strap it down again to the trailer. But it's definitely looking a whole lot better. Now we just got to get some more plywood, get it cut to size, and hopefully go ahead and buy the 2-part foam and get that in here so we can start installing the floor. Okay, so yesterday evening, after we finished pulling the floor out and the foam and cleaning the inside of the hull, we filled it up with water 2 inches above the stringers to do an overnight leak check. And of course, come out this morning and it's pouring down rain in the first part of the day. So it was kind of hard to look around for the little wet spots on the concrete since it was all wet. But there was, one definite leak up by the bow. And after the sun came out today, it dried the rest of the driveway, and Apparently that's the only leak. As you can see, the driveway is dry everywhere under the back of the boat, even where the drain plug is. There's not a single drop of water on the concrete. The only spot that's leaking is the spot that I had no problem seeing this morning, even in the rain, and that's right here. Pretty consistent leak under the bow. It's right at this seam where on the inside of the boat the factory had sealant in that area, and when I was cleaning out the floor and everything, I could visually see that the sealant was cracking and splitting. So it may just be a matter of putting some new sealant down. Worst case, I may have to tighten up some rivets or do a little extra sealing on the outside. But at least now we know that's the only spot that's leaking on this hull. Now we can just drain the water out, get the boat off the trailer and turn it over and begin working on the bottom of the boat. And of course I'll reseal that area right there from the inside once it's back on the trailer after the bottom of the hull is painted, and then we'll do another leak check. So next step, turn the boat over.